All right. Thank you all for joining us for this strategic planning grant information session. I am Jeff Gurnee. I'm one of the regional consultants. I'm happy to be joined by my colleague Dena, the grants administrator, who can answer all the important grant related questions. Just going to go through a couple things, what you should expect through the process, and why we think this is a good thing for Kentucky Public Libraries. All right. So this grant is part of the Grants to States programs through the Institute of Museum and Library Services. See that on a lot of grants. We're thankful to get that support. Moving on, the purpose of this particular grant, to provide funding for Kentucky Public Libraries to collaborate with a consultant in creating a 3 to 5 year strategic plan for their libraries. Not only will they work individually with our strategic planning consultant, but they will also work with other libraries and work as a cohort in the process to work and learn off each other. The funding available for this grant is $30,000 with up to $5,000 as the maximum award to an individual library. Now, how to apply for this grant? Like all of our grants for the past year and a half, you will apply through our submittable portal, which is available on our website and in all of the grant information that Dena sends out. Submittable will also be the location for all communication and reporting. For a refresher on Submittable, I will have a link to their YouTube page when I send out the slides that just kind of gives you a refresher of how to access the portal and make best use of it. I know a lot of people weren't a huge fan when we transitioned over, but since I've heard nothing but positive, so just shows that it takes a little time for you to get to learn something and realize how good it can be. All right. So the funds and tracking. So we will issue a check for the total amount of the grant. This grant will be pretty simple, we hope. The majority of funds will be allocated to the strategic planning consultant. The remainder may be used for travel for our in-person meeting on November 13th. Right now, we're saying at a centralized location because we'll have to see who gets accepted and what is most convenient. Maybe at KDLA, maybe at a place that is closer. And various supplies needed for the strategic planning process. Those may also be provided by the consultant if a library would prefer that. Now, with these funds and with the tracking, you need to have a separate line item for these grant funds and keep all receipts and invoices for your supplies and travel. Those will be needed for your final report to submit for your grant. All right, the cohort. So like I said briefly before, the selected libraries will work both individually with the consultant, but also together in a cohort. So you will work with, 5 other libraries who are going through the exact same process in the exact same time, having the same questions and concerns and being able to learn from each other, learn what worked for one library that you might want to try for yourself, or something that didn't work for one library that you know not to try. It also provides support for you going through the process because, the strategic plan is a big deal. It's good for, 3 to 5 years, but because it's good for that amount of time, we want to put enough work into it that it stands the test of time. Okay. So this is a brief outlay of the time commitment that a library would need to commit to the program. This isn't exactly inclusive because there may be more things popping up, but we will have a mandatory all-day in-person meeting on that Thursday, November the 13th, at a centralized location. We will have at least monthly virtual cohort meetings that are roughly about 2 hours in length. Um, Working on the dates, a lot of those will be on Thursdays, but we're working and should have those on the submittable page as well. One of the things you will have to do, successful applicants will have to develop their library strategic planning team and have meetings with them about all sorts of different parts along the process. You know, mission, vision statements, surveys, community town halls, all those sorts of things. The library has to have their own strategic planning team to make it a successful process. There'll be several hours of background work per month. You'll need to do, we will help you with some of this, but you'll need to get a good snapshot of how your community is now and how your community feels about the library, so you can get all that information to inform the decisions you're going to make for the future. Also, we recommend that we will help you with all the questions and the background stuff, but the library needs to get out there and provide opportunities for feedback on this plan. So we say that you need to have at least one community conversation town hall in a place where outside of the library, where patrons and members of your community can express their concerns and hopes for the library. All right, so again, it is going to take up some time. So if you want a strategic plan but don't necessarily have the time to devote for it right now, maybe this is not the opportunity for you at this time. All right. Also here, just a brief overview of what the consultant will do for you and what the library needs to do for itself. So the consultant not only is just there to help support, answer any questions, but also a lot of it is developing the framework that is necessary for a good strategic plan. Now, I'm not going to read all of it because you can see it on the screen, but gives you an overview, leads our monthly cohort meetings that, consecutively builds on each part of the strategic planning process to get you to your end goal, helps you develop your mission statement and values, does the background work that allows you to ask the right questions and help you guide in what is a good statistical sample to your surveys to know that you're getting good information. But then, the library has to do a lot itself. It needs to develop a strategic planning committee that's not just board members, because we don't want it to be entirely a board process, because then you're having to treat it like special called meetings. You want people outside the library. You want people in your community who are engaged and know what's going on and is able to give voices to areas that you might not know as much about. You need to be able to attend these meetings, because not only are you developing the next step in the process, but it allows you, time to ask questions and get feedback, not only from our consultant, but also the other libraries. If you do have to miss one, we do try to record them, but it's best to attend in person. You or your designees will need to develop the marketing and PR materials for promotion of the new statement of values. You'll need to find the best ways to distribute your survey, conduct interviews, and like I said before, the town hall. We KDLA and the consultant will provide, as much backing and framework and support as we can, but it is a lot of hands-on work. All right, briefly, the grant timeline. Applications available from September 9th through October 10th. The review committee take place shortly after through the 24th of October. We'll announce the awards on Halloween. We'll have that in-person meeting on November 13th. And then final reports due and all funds spent by August 31st, 2026. Our goal is to, get started in November, start providing you with lots of information, all the information you need to build your team, start thinking about your values and your mission statement, and hopefully you will pretty much be wrapped up with your strategic plan before, library summer reading starts. Everyone is on a slightly different scale, but that's kind of our main goal with this project. Library eligibility, have to follow along with our determination for public libraries. All applicants must be active in sam.gov. If you have gotten other grants, if you get E-rate, you should already be good on this. If not, let us know. We can help you. Do our best to help you. You must have a library director who is properly certified by the state board for certification of librarians, and you must be in good standing with the Department for Local Government. So if you hit all those three things, you're good to go to apply. If you have issues with any of those, let us know, and we'll see what we can do to get you on the right track. All right, that's really all I had. Like I said, this grant is very straightforward, so we didn't have a ton in this information session. There's our contact info if you need to contact us or have any questions. And then, Dena, is there anything I missed?
No, you did a good job wrapping it up. I don't know, does anybody who's attending have any questions?
All right, I'll take that as a no. So yeah, short and sweet. Well, let's see, something just popped up in the chat. All right. Yeah, so yeah, we look forward for working with another group of libraries. If you want to ask any questions of us, there's our contact information. If you're curious of the last participants of the cohort, those were, let me see if I can run them all off of my top of the head. Those were Lewis, Marion, McCreary, Johnson, and Hopkins. So one from each region. So if you have any questions about the process from a library perspective, I guess you could reach out to one of them. And yeah, we're looking forward to this project. And if there's anything we can do to help, please let us know.